The entire calliope was built using New Zealand pine that I obtained from Menards. This is beautiful wood. It has really nice grain to it. There's not a knot or a crack in it. They're flat. I like the grain in this. I did not want to paint it. To finish this, I made a mixture of Bullseye Seal Coat, denatured alcohol, and boiled linseed oil, equal amounts. And you put it in a jar and it will separate. The alcohol and the shellac on top and the boiled linseed oil down below. And before you use that, you shake it up. It gets to be kind of a milky color. I put it in a little bottle. Every few seconds you shake that and you squeeze it out on a rag. Just wipe that wood with that. The linseed oil makes that grain pop. And after that dries, I start putting lacquer on there and sanding it in between coats with 220. And this was a brushed on lacquer. This was my test piece. These are a couple of pieces of the final finish, and you can see to the original it's a little bit darker. That has several coats of Deft spray lacquer, semi-gloss. This area in here is the wind chest, and the blower will pressurize this. I wanted to form a seal between here and the sides and this piece where it comes down to here. Seal up these gaps as much as I could. What I did on these matching surfaces, like along here, and this is where the back will attach, I had made a mixture of stuff for my wife for a kitchen cutting board. This is mineral oil with beeswax. You just take this jar and set it in simmering water, put some mineral oil in there, heat it up, and just keep melting beeswax until it has dissolved all that it will. And then let it cool. And this forms a paste. And it's a very similar texture to kiwi shoe polish. I just take a rag, get some of that mixture on there, and rub it onto any surface that I want to seal to another surface. Then I wipe off the excess. And so this has all been treated with that beeswax. And when I go to put this together, I'm going to use this Quick Seal caulk. I'll just put a stringer down through there. When I screw this together, it'll seal that gap. But with the beeswax on both of the mating surfaces, it'll allow that to come apart if I ever have to take this apart to work on it. I take a cloth, some of that wax on there, make sure I want to fill that end grain, fill the wood, any place that I want that to seal. I do the same thing on the matching surface. I applied the beeswax and mineral oil to both of these strips of wood, and I put that strip of this Quick Seal on the one piece. We're going to put that together and squeeze it, and we'll open that up tomorrow and have a look at it. So now it's the next day. It's going to need a little coaxing. It comes apart, and that caulking material comes right off. If this was the calliope I had taken apart, I'd reapply the wax, recaulk it, and put it back together. The back of the organ is completed, and that's the power going in, and this is the cord that goes to the blower. When the calliope is turned on, it feeds power to the blower. This is a pressure tap, and that leads to a Magnehillet gauge. You can see what pressure I'm developing inside the calliope in the wind chest. And this is the hose from the blower. It's just a shop vac hose that I've modified a little bit. All of this around here needs to be sealed because that is the wind chest, and that's the box that contains all of those pallet magnets. That needs to be as airtight as we can make it, within reason. This develops more than enough air to compensate for a little bit of leakage. I put this together to begin with using drywall screws. These can be black like these, sometimes more gray. I was going to replace it with brass screws, but then I found these, which are drywall screws, but they're called yellow galvanized. Now this has more of an appearance of CAD plating to me, but on the top and the front, made by another company, a different batch, these look very much like brass, and again, that's yellow galvanized. I was happy with the way that looked, so that's what I used. The original black drywall screws, these are the ones I say look a little more like CAD plating. And if you're lucky, you can find the really yellow ones. Yellow zinc or yellow galvanized. I have the calliope tilted at a bit of an angle so we can see the micro switches, the rockers, and the keyboard at the same time. The cord I have used is a round braided fishing line called a squid line. I have it tied up here with a clinch knot. It comes back and loops through this eye, and once this is adjusted to length, it's held in place by a lead split shot. When you push the keys down, there's just a little bit of travel left in the micro switches, and the same way for the black keys. After doing all the adjustment of the lines, I tied a knot in the end of the line, and then I sealed the end of the cord with a hot soldering iron. For the most part, I have maintained the original appearance of the calliope. A couple of changes. The keys are a little longer, they're a little wider. This was squared off, as was this. I've cut that out, kind of smoothed the lines a little bit, in my opinion. This thing now weighs probably in excess of 70 pounds. It's heavy. It's really a two-person job to pick this up. The handles are on here. They do work, but at this stage, it's pretty much for appearance. There's about half a tray of wood in here, and the electronics and the magnets, the pipes, all that weight adds up pretty quick.